Name 3 random movies.
Oh, God. Rambo.
Rambo.
Trumbo.
Trumbo.
And Apocalypto.
Apocalypto. Perfect. Okay.
There you go.
You move house and you leave Sharp behind, and he's going to set out to meet you, but those 3 movies happen to him on the way. So what's the movie?
Oh, my God. Okay. So he is immediately taken to the... I'm going to say the cat stick people. Cat people who are sacrificing other cats and throwing their heads down.
No, don't do that.
Down pyramid. But he runs away
Don't
from
you realize colonialists are coming?
For the love of God. Well, that's
Unite, damn you.
That's exactly the problem. But yeah.
No wonder they got conquered.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mel Gibson.
He's running away and he's thinking, well, I've got to get somewhere safe. Why not here? Yeah. America. Uh-oh, too late for that. They hate communists now. And
and I'm such a communist as your cat.
Oh, he's such a communist. He's always lying around doing nothing. And he...
To each according to my needs. From each according to my needs.
To my me. And so unfortunately he's blacklisted from even getting help because, if you feed a communist or house a communist, you're a communist.
You're a communist.
And then...
Damn it, we're both thinking Patrol.
Yeah, both thinking...
Instead of the real-world geopolitical situation of the 2000s.
Yeah. / Rambo, which is what happens next.
Also Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Pretty sure it was in Cambodia for Rambo.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen the first one.
Oh, no, the first one's First Blood. Second one's First Blood Part 2 Rambo. Third one is Rambo 3. And then the fourth one is just Rambo, so I assumed you meant that one.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen the fifth one, which is the one with the Christians hanging about and being all
That's the fourth one.
I'm gonna say fifth.
Okay, the fifth one, Last Blood.
Yeah, nice one. Fifth Blood.
Yeah.
And the Five Bloods. And he it's amazing how they turn that.
What a Rambo
sequel! How they turn that around, really. But
God, Spike Lee's a genius. Maybe I should watch the Old Boy remake.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But anyway, and just Sly Stallone's there. There you go. There's a movie. For
yeah.
You.
Hey, little cat, you need to get back to your family. Well, I'll get you there. And he puts him into a rocket launcher and shoots him across the seas
into a foreigner.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We've made something easily as comprehensible as bingo. Hello and welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that can't wait to be neutered. I'm Paul Eyes.
I'm waiting for your farts to evaporate.
Oh shit, you're going to hear that again soon. We're sniffing up the butt of Recommendations Month.
Woof woof. Yes, that's right. This one woofs all the way from Liam Bark Jose. No dog puns today. Sorry. If only there was anything dog related that rhymed with Liam. Yeah, he's a good boy. Yeah. Especially because he recommended that we watch Bingo 1992.
Liam is male backwards and dogs don't like male men.
Okay, cool. So just say that again.
So Liam is male backwards.
Yep.
And dogs don't like male men.
Jose recommended Bingo 1992 for us today. Thank you, Liam. This is the second time I've seen it with Liam.
He came over again to watch it this time.
I had him around again to watch it. No, I went around his first time and he came around to watch it the second time.
Oh, different circumstances.
Completely different circumstances. Can't replicate it in a lab. He also brought over a box of Cheezels, which none of us ate. So it's
what a legend.
Your Cheezels are still here, Liam.
Oh, do you know what? That's the ghost of me in the room. I should have been there. I'd have eaten the fucking Cheezels.
That explains all the cheese.
That's like when you spill a little drink for the homies who aren't here, you just throw some cheese about and no one eats it.
Crumble some Cheezels into our nice new tatami rug, and then later we have to
for those who aren't
vacuum
here.
it up.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And he has clumsily tossed us for a flaming building by recommending the 1991 family film Bingo.
Yeah.
His name is Bingo. He's a dog.
He just needs a little boy to play frisbee
The only thing that dog's gonna catch is a bullet.
His name's Chucky. He needs a dog. And from the moment Bingo landed in Chucky's life...
All right. Second Bingo! Bingo, where are you?
Things started looking up. Just a couple of obstacles stood in the way of this team.
What are you guys saying? That I'm hiding a dog or something?
Bingo, Chucky's family.
I hate animals. Over there, G Rover.
And a change of address.
Bingo! Bingo, where are you? Bingo!
But Bingo didn't give up. He got moving.
No dog can track you that distance.
And as he made tracks, he made friends.
Oh, it's a cute doggy.
What is that, champagne you've been drinking?
Enemies.
They've got us surrounded. One move and the dog gets it.
And the 6 o'clock news.
Your Honor, could we have the court reporter read back the dog's testimony?
I'm gonna get you if it's the last thing I do.
Nothing can stop a dog like Bingo. Because nothing comes between a dog and a dog's best friend. Bingo.
Yeah. The film is the first film written by Jim Strain, who then went on to be one of several men to come up with the story and screenplay for Jumanji. Yeah. That also has a bit of a ramshackle plotting to it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're in a convenience... It's a grocery store now. Are we still playing the game?
Shut up. What are you, a communist?
Your ruthless devotion to capitalist structures of plotting is going to be your undoing, is what I'm saying. Your art is going to become mediocre and self-serving, and that's when your empire will fall. Shit.
God, well...
Okay.
All right.
All right, I guess I need to rewatch Jumanji.
I think we all need to rewatch Jumanji with that in mind.
I think it's important. Then Summer of the Monkeys. Space Warriors. And these days he writes Walton's movies. He's written 2 and Alien Xmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it?
You know.
Is it the Liam was telling me a colourful current career from one of the people involved in this. Was it a writer or the director? Or
well, let me tell you about the director.
Okay.
The film was certainly not written by its director, who actually achieved much greater success as a screenwriter. And I'm just now noticing I didn't write his fucking name down, which is handy. Tell you what, mate, find out who directed Bingo.
Oh, I can do that.
Ooh. He started off his career in the Spielberg-Lucas crowd and gets a writing credit on Sugarland Express, but also does uncredited script work for THX 1138, Lucas's first film, and the short film it was adapted from, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
Then he turns to directing. He makes Corvette Summer.
Okay.
Makes Dragon Slayer. Makes Batteries Not Included. Makes Bingo.
Yeah.
Never directs again.
Okay. But then he goes back to writing.
Yes, he starts writing. He writes for Bollywood, and he falls in with Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Co-writing Mimic, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Crimson Peak, and Pinocchio.
Yes.
Just a story credit there, but there are similarities.
Fuck yeah. So that's something, and that's Matthew Robbins.
Matthew Robbins is that wonderful man.
Wonderful man who's been responsible for joy in my life. And
some joy.
Yeah.
I wonder what bit of Jaws he did. Well, I'll tell you what, though, it didn't really count for much because critics insisted that they do the threatening in this family. Brian Costello over at Common Sense Media says...
Oh, him?
He says, terrible, dull dog movie filled with iffy behaviour. Iffy behaviour.
There's no room for that kind of behaviour on screen, Paul.
Not in my house.
Yeah.
Well, I do the threatening.
American Psycho is fantastic for the most part. Everybody was very well dressed. Ties, not ties. It was all good, and then he just started dancing. And he hadn't even brought a chaperone.
Yeah, and it was for that reason as well as many others. It was a very dull dog movie. That one.
It's true.
Yeah, there's a bit where I got excited, but it was just a pig.
Well, there's a bit where he tries to
Reese Witherspoon with a pig.
Did try and feed a dog to an ATM machine, but apparently it was all metaphorical and may have been in his head.
Shit.
So
it was some sort of indictment. Communists again, probably right in this film.
I'm sick of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Public, meanwhile, we're just waiting for farts to evaporate, like you at the beginning of the episode. Everyone's just hoping they'll dissipate before we get over there.
Hang on though.
Dale
hang on.
Man.
I'm no longer waiting for farts to evaporate. Thanks, public.
Oh, yes! I never did. I was always hopeful for getting in there whilst they were still hot and fresh.
Hopeful for osmosis not to take care of the fart to air ratio.
I hate it. That's why a blanket is the best thing in the world. Dale Manderson said on Google said, if bingo is the feeling you're looking for, as in, bingo, this movie is great, then this is not the movie that will provide that feeling.
Now, if the feeling you're looking for with John Wick 4 is John Wick 4, this movie is great, then this John Wick 4 is not the movie for you.
Well, look, that's very complicated as the thought process goes. I think we need to return to the purity of a child, as we are all encouraged to behold cinema by Andre Bazin. I can't remember. I've been reading too much stuff. It's all blurring together.
That's the problem with reading. Can't.
It was him or Laura Mulvey.
We'll just say Laura Mulvey because we can blame her.
We'll just say Laura Mulvey to be safe. No need to burn another bridge. Lola 2018 on Common Sense Media, where she is credited as child, aged 8, said,
Okay.
One of my favourites when I was littler, then puts a little winky face.
Ooh.
Aw.
Oh, that's nice. Littler.
She was littler.
Oh.
Littler.
When I was
a littler kid.
Whitwer.
Well, I was Whitwer.
But she goes on to say, but now this fucking slag heap.
Of course, Lola 2018 is an indication of her birth year, and that means that this review isn't actually going to come out for another 3 years.
It's unfortunate, really, because
It would have been really helpful to have had it now.
Felt like the review we all needed, to be honest.
It really is. Maybe we can meet back here and do this again.
Yeah, maybe. Never look back, though, mate. That's my motto.
Tell you what, though, the guy who serves the dog the subpoena, oh yes, friends, stick around, is Ken Kramer, who was Dr. Murphy in Little Man and Mr. Murray in Deck the Halls. So it's a very formal gent.
Ooh, lovely. Well, Dale Anderson would have been very approving of that.
all of his performances have honorifics.
I did see that one of the guy playing Eli was in Christmas with the Cranks. So
oh yes he is, because that I think is a dude I will mention later on who was in a bunch of things.
Okay.
He's got the look of an asshole. He was in Scary Movie, right? He was the sheriff.
Oh.
Remember he shows Sid the pictures of him in his underwear?
Well, the small guy, the henchman, the goon.
Goon? Well, there were two criminals, right?
Yes.
I'm talking about the one who's taller, balder, fatter son.
That's Kurt Fuller, who's in Wayne's
That's
World.
Kurt Fuller. Yes, I've got Kurt
amongst
Fuller.
other things.
Okay, well, the other guys are two men then. Great. There are a couple of two men.
Okay.
There are a couple of two men about. We'll find out more about them later when we do Little Man 2.
Oh, free to a man, free in the bush, free, yo. Films are shit, mate.
Bingo has 4.99 on IMDb, 71% on Google, good Christ, and apparently made $8.6 million on a $10 million budget, which isn't great. So, Paul, you Polish hot dog.
Woof.
What would you put first, family or football?
Oh, Paul, I would always put forward the Denver Broncos because the phrase the Denver Broncos is used in this movie, Paul, and it always makes me think of that bit in The Simpsons, as does any mention of Broncos or Denver Broncos.
Yep, the Hank Scorpio episode, which happens later in the series than I remember. It's actually in season 8, if I remember correctly. I will warn our listeners that this might take a while. The Wikipedia plot summary contains one of my favourite editorial notes that you get on some movies, which is, this section may be overlong or overly detailed. I just love that. This could do with less detail.
Yeah. I guess we have to breeze through it just to show just how much goes on in this movie.
Yes, let's try.
Okay.
We open with a circus, very much like Nightmare Alley, but instead of a horrifying Bradley Cooper, we have a cute dog.
Yes. He's a cute dog and he's running around. He's got a bucket in his mouth. It's fantastic.
Oh, he's got a bucket of water and he spills most of it and then spills the rest of it. So a British man threatens to drown him, as happens to me when I underperform at work.
Yeah. I thought he was Australian, and then it turns out he was born in Canada. So it just shows what any of us know about the
He's
world.
He's an enigma. Yeah. No wonder this dog was so confused by him and his being.
Yeah, but you know he's not a fan of this dog, and honestly, this dog's not a fan of him because the Commonwealth is just an absolute nightmare.
Dogs are fans of everyone, mate. They're beautiful creatures.
That's how they
Except
get
the ones that they maul to death, as we'll see shortly.
That's how Big Dog gets you. One of his poodles has a nail in his
freakishly long nail lodged into his fucking
from
paw.
Hanging out with Gizmo the Wonderful, the guy who lies on the bed of nails. And who's going to do the show now? Why not Bingo? who's never been trained.
Why
in
not
this.
Bingo?
And
Let's find out what he can do. Trial by fire, literally.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, the fire that he's expected to jump through does make him flashback to his horrific backstory in which he lost his freakishly proportioned mother in a big fire.
Yeah.
Which he's afraid of dying in a big fire. Poor
yeah. Which, you know, is understandable, I suppose. I can,
yeah.
if I'm being charitable. So yeah, he doesn't jump through the hoop.
His owners can't understand it because the lady owner does say there was something about that fire that really frightened him. But who knows what it is?
It could be the fire. Let's kill him, says the guy. And no, says the woman. All right, let's kill him, says the woman.
Run, Bingo! Run for cover! No, Bingo. Not covers. Escape. Run for freedom. Do whatever makes you happy. Not playful happy. Fulfilling happy. Start a new life. Find a family. No, you idiot. Your own family. Oh, you're right. Let's kill him.
They try to kill him. The poodles love it. You can see the poodles in the shot, and they're just very fond of the idea of Bingo getting shot.
Yes, mother.
But he runs away.
Yeah.
Fortunately, some radical kids are having a legendary bike ride nearby. It's pretty sick, bro. But here's fucking Charlie, who sucks at everything.
He's such a dork, and he's such a fucking gatekeeper as well. But
he's the worst kind of kid, so his brother correctly leaves him to die.
Yeah.
At which point the production crew decide to get this dog to actually pull the boy out of the water. I assume by wiring his mouth to the boy's trouser leg and then pulling him out with the dog. And they burst 3 dogs doing that. And then chucked the last one over a ramp.
Worth pointing out at this stage, Paul, that Bingo is actually played by a lady dog. But the perceptions of America in the 90s, Paul, couldn't handle a lady dog.
They weren't ready for a male identifying lady dog. And in many ways, I don't think they still are.
No.
I think that's a shocking indictment.
But through a wonderful number of tricks, Bingo resuscitates the child. and then
he charmingly resuscitates this boy.
And then
strips him naked and hangs his clothes up to dry on a washing line he has erected.
And set up a tent. And started a fire. So
taken his own collar off, which for some reason is the most unbelievable part of that for me.
Charlie wakes up and he's like, no, well, it's not bad for a dog, I suppose. God, he's a nigger as well. And I really don't like this boy. And so
Bingo decides to get a fish for this horrible boy.
Yeah.
So that they can eat it raw, I assume. But, actually, no, he's made a fire at a pizza oven, so he's just gathering things together.
He's hired an immigrant worker, but he's paying him fairly, with love.
Yeah.
With Woof.
With Woof. Then a bear attacks, and there's no McNamara's to help out, so they're just going to have to climb a tree.
Yeah.
I saw Cocaine Bear, that's definitely going to work.
Sure is. Anyone who knows anything about bears says go.
Of course they can!
But so is this the point when he brings the dog home?
We cut to his family: William H. Macy, his brother Bart Simpson, and his mum, Home Alone mum, from The Conversation. From The Conversation.
Oh, wow.
And they argue about how dead their son probably is.
Ow, Hal, for God's sake, leave your foot on the floor in the game in the stadium. Right now, I'm worried about our son.
If we don't hear something by morning...
Morning?
I'll call the police.
Probably, but the dad who plays, is it Linton Barkley in The Loop, the American senator?
Oh, right.
Is fantastic. He's the star kicker for the Denver Broncos.
He is. He loves the Denver Broncos and he hates animals. He's a rich character.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's got a lot going on for him, including some very good lines. And the whole house is decked out in Denver Broncos colours. He hasn't got any time for his son because he's too busy kicking. Son's probably dead. Let's not call the cops just yet. But he shows up eventually.
The next morning. Oh, look, Billy didn't die. Good for him.
Yeah.
He hides the dog in the garden. But what's this? A chance to get laid? Get fucked, kid! Which is also the prevailing attitude amongst his family. He does manage to stop the dog from raw dogging, so to speak, the other dog, mercilessly. And hides him in the garden. Or in the house.
But the dog eats the cream in the house.
Charlie leaves his presumably... Charlie leaves in order to attend his presumably Denver Bronco-themed school so that Bingo can go and have a Lynchian nightmare on a waterbed that I guess was trying to communicate that the dog wanted to eat the canned cream. I just thought he was having an existential crisis.
There was definitely some cream eating going on, Paul, and I'm happy to confirm that for you.
he fucks up some things. It's that episode of The Simpsons. There's a few episodes going on here, but it's the one where Santa's little helper destroys everything.
Yeah. I mean, Bingo is the episode of The Simpsons where they get a dog that's better than Santa's little helper for the most part.
Yes.
But with other jokes in there as well that are weird.
And prison, but we'll come to that. Yeah, the boy gets home, so it's time to have some bonding moments between this boy and his dog. So they glue a terrified dog to a skateboard and shove it down a hill.
But they get a shot of him driving the skateboard as well, with putting his foot. What's the word for a skateboarder who, propels himself along with his foot?
Kicking off.
Kicking off. Yeah, that's it.
Kicking it.
Kicking it. They get a shot of Bingo kicking it. Word.
The dog does Charlie's homework, and then Charlie eats it. He's a fucked up kid.
He's a fucking nightmare. He's a horror show. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm attracted to dogs." What's wrong with you, Charlie? Don't even know if you're being ironic, and I don't care.
No. They go fishing, and I just really hope that the bear shows up again. You motherfuckers come out here again! But to be fair, we didn't see how they got out of the tree situation. Maybe Bingo and Charlie just murdered that bear.
You don't know, because it was a hard cut to the next scene. And before we knew it,
covered in blood.
Linton Barkley was stepping on dog poop with his bare foot, because he keeps his kicking foot bare at all times, because he's a nightmare. And then basically, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I'm missing several scenes. But the dad, there's been all this talk about him getting a transfer to the Green Bay Packers, which isn't in Denver or has anything to do with Broncos. And then he gets it. So they're off to Green Bay, Wisconsin?
Yes, Wisconsin. He's off to Wisconsin.
Yes.
Just enough time for Bingo to bang the bee next door. That's what I've written that. So he goes off to do that. But oh no, he's too hungover and cummed out the next morning to make the trip on time, so they leave without him.
We know what that's like, fellas.
Oh, we all know what it's like to miss that plane.
For those
he chases
reasons.
after the car, but the family just hate this fucking dog on sight, so they speed away. And their son.
Yeah, and the son. And Bingo gets in a car and tries to follow them, but a cop stops him because he's
fucking
drunk.
steals a car like Grand Theft Auto.
He just goes around, racks up his wanted rating, and then he's in a helicopter come the end of the mission. But he's stopped by a cop who has him walk a straight line, but he's drunk. He's still bloody drunk. Like a
he's
fucking...
drunk from the champagne he had with that
wank.
dog the previous night.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, he loses track of the car, but he can smell the boy's urine, which Charlie knows, so he leaves a streak of piss all the way out of state.
Yeah. So that's so good. I mean, it's nice to have your expectations met for once. But it's too late because got to go to the fucking dog pound or something because of the police, because he was drunk.
He was drunk, but he gets out of there somehow. Oh, he digs his way out, right? Is that the first time he digs his way out of the situation?
Oh, maybe.
He gets out.
How does he end up in the hot dog place?
Well, he gets to the hot dog place. The family stop for some good American street food that might be the worst food I've ever seen depicted on screen. I would eat David Lynch's cream corn, which is a manifestation of human suffering, before I go anywhere near those dogs.
I would lick the espresso that Angelo Badalamenti spits out onto the table in Mulholland Drive before I eat those hot dogs, or most hot dogs, to be fair.
I do like a hot dog. Those hot dogs were served in white baps and covered in sauerkraut. And whatever the mum's hot dog was. It was described as the Chinese one. But nevertheless, they turn out to be more dog than you realise.
They're dogs. And
they're dogs. The chef is killing dogs and putting them into the hot dogs. The boy finds out.
And they drive off, and the dad tries some dad reasoning to explain it and make everyone forget about their feelings.
Just to justify not doing anything ever. Bingo gets dehydrated and so hallucinates his terrifying owner. But then gets got by the hot dog guy.
Yeah.
Not the one from The Happening, unfortunately.
Guaranteed fresh, partner, or this will give you money back.
It's a shame that we all felt dearly. But he orchestrates a breakout, and they wrangle the guy, they truss him up and drive him into his own hot dog stand on, I'm gonna say, a truck. And I was expecting an explosion, but the film isn't
he is
that
now
silly.
Charlie, and he's now the head of this army. So he is Charlie, breaker of chains, father of those half-breed dogs he left back in Denver.
Don't ask.
But he's got a boy to find, so it's back to sniffing piss across the country for this Khaleesi.
Which really, is Khaleesi's problem.
Gotta huff that piss. So
go on, man, you just Gotta have it. So yeah, he goes off on his journey.
Yes, and falls in with 2 criminals, at least one of whom is Kurt Fuller.
Let go! The craziest dream! Let go! Hey! Get this damn dog off of me! Hey!
I don't know which one of you started this, but you're both going to get us in big trouble.
Yes, at least. By falls in, he ends up finding out that they're holding a family captive. Oh no! So he frees the family and calls the police.
He does.
And he
Well, he waits until they've fallen asleep, at which point he sneaks out, calls the police, and
Uses
Morse codes over a distress signal.
Yeah.
Which the fucking operator recognizes immediately because he's great.
Yeah.
What's his story?
But the first operator was like, "What the fuck is this? I'm so angry and confused."
I can
by
only
these
hear your
pranking
dog.
kids."
Your stupid wanky dog that sounds like a prick.
Cuck dog. But no, he's doing Morse code and
doing
wanking
Morse code
with his mouth. And
he's such a talented dog.
Yeah.
One of the crims pulls a gun on the little girl, so Bingo. Charlie appears and savages the man.
Pisses all over him.
But is then taken hostage at gunpoint himself.
Yes.
Charlie then sees Bingo on the TV news having saved the family, and for some reason yells Jenga at the screen.
Are now in custody thanks to the extraordinary efforts of one brave dog.
Maybe he meant to say bingo and they couldn't afford another shot because that was the only shot that they shot in IMAX. They're like, we can't cut, kid.
Fucking Christopher Nolan on DP. I'll tell you what, though, rescuing the family was a mistake because they're horrifying. And everything about them is horrifying. He gets adopted by them, but he doesn't stay there long because this fucking dog is getting framed for the kidnapping and is sent to jail alongside the guys who actually did the kidnapping.
Yes.
So what was the point in that?
Well, you're asking the wrong questions, Paul. You should be asking, why is this film amazing? Because he gets off, he gets subpoenaed, he goes to court. They have a whole a drawn out court case where he identifies the criminals, but then through legal loopholes, the lawyer manages to send Bingo
God, I
away.
hate America.
And maybe they get to share the sentence. So instead of life, they
this
just
is how Trump's going to get off.
Yeah,
by framing a dog.
But then we've all got to frame Trump. That's the key. It's just none of us have thought of it yet. So he's in prison now, where he makes friends. He tries to Bagsy top bunk, but unfortunately, the guy from Cube is on the top bunk already, and he's gonna make him his bitch.
He's already got a plan.
Yeah.
Yes, he's there, and then he gets a letter already from Charlie, which his cellmate does read to him. At least one day later, because it is a different scene. So he goes a day of crying and begging.
That could be 14 years, mate, in the chateau, whatever it's called.
All right, I'll read the letter. So, but unfortunately, they put him in the same jail as the bad guys. So the next thing that happens in Bingo is a prison knife fight.
Yes. They pull out what look like machetes, and they just have a good bloody go of it.
Yeah. And then the fucking Zodiac comes over and stops the fight. I stopped the fight. Not you. Woof, 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 woof. If you get out of here.
Woof. Thomas Jane loves it. And, yeah.
So, Bingo and his cellmate Dubov break out of the prison.
Dubov from Cube.
What's his crime? Absolute cannibal. Total army.
Where's Sideshow Bob and the guy who eats faces? He's right there on top bunk.
Right here, Chief. So he's out. He gets away from prison. And he stumbles into a kind young woman who gives him a rest. And for a moment, it seems like maybe paid for a nose transplant. But that seems to be a dream. It's very hard to distinguish between that and the reality of this film. And he finally tracks down Charlie.
The piss
and
is
Mum, who
particularly
is watching
strong.
this movie with me, says, a lot of this dog's antics are very similar to that of Lassie, at which exact point she had no sooner gotten that sentence out than a rough collie appears on screen. It was really quite eerie. But
it knows what it's doing. Just like I know what I'm doing. You don't trust me.
But Bingo thinks that Lassie is Charlie's and that he's moved on. It's very much like the girl with the dragon tattoo or Futurama.
Both of those and more. But unfortunately, he's walking the dog and someone says, "Hey, how's the new dog?" And he goes, "It's fine. It's shit, though, compared to Bingo. God, I wish I had Bingo." But Bingo's
It's not a new dog, though. He's just walking it. He's walking it for a neighbour. But Bingo doesn't get that, so he goes off to drink himself to death.
Yeah, and looks sad on a pier. So...
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But then Harry and Marv find him.
Yeah. Hiya, pal. And, they catch him. and they
try to catch him, but then Charlie sees and fucking charges them, gets himself caught instead, and they forget about Bingo because who cares when there's a boy to murder?
They find out the boy's dad is star kicker, manly man from Green Bay Packers previously, the Denver Broncos, and they realize that they can get a lot of money out of this guy, this high profile figure.
We sure can. He's definitely going to be loaded if he's an actual important football player for a large team, a globally recognized team, because I knew who they were. So we're definitely going to be able to blackmail this kid. Oh, okay. We're going to see if we can get him to throw his games in exchange, because apparently we can make more money by betting against the Packers.
I guess paper trail, mate.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
No paper trail with bets. But
no paper trail with blackmail.
Bingo goes to the family house, but the mum doesn't get it. So he goes back to where the kid is kept prisoner. It's actually round the corner and gets his cap. But that's not unique enough. Damn, why is his stuff all so mass-produced and branded? Bring his face. Pull his face off and bring that.
But then Bingo pulls the kid's face off, but it's all saggy and missing the bone structure necessary to identify the child. So what does he do? Bingo learns to speak English and says, look, you've got to come with me. The boy is here.
Look, guys. The father gets called on the pitch at the stadium. What was the budget of this fucking thing?
$8 million.
So it was. Somehow that pays for some serious stadium time.
If you can stump up enough for like a Super Bowl ad, you can get 20 seconds of Linton McMahon kick during just saying, "Give me back my son."
Give me back my son. So the dog gets sick of all this.
Yeah.
And does what he could have done the whole time and just mauls the pair of them to death. But somehow, off screen, they managed to apprehend and tie up the dog. They couldn't film that because the dog killed the guys every goddamn time they did.
And they call that animal cruelty.
They shot that scene first and got through 6 Harry and Marvs before they finally landed it.
Yeah. But in the end, everything's okay. Because everything that needs to happen happens.
Yeah, there's a bomb.
Yeah.
There's a bomb. There's a fucking bomb they've made. Because fuck the gambling scheme. Let's blow up this boy and his dog.
Yeah.
And also, the warehouse is on fire, which could easily have been the ticking clock instead. But no, there's a bomb. And caught in the fire, Charlie begs Bingo to leave him to die. Is this the film you wanted to see, son? Yeah. But he can't do it.
Yeah, no, he
can't.
He's
afraid. He's afraid of fire, as was expressed in what feels like a very different, more innocent time of this movie. A lot has happened.
What doesn't feel like could be called the first act anymore.
More like the prologue.
Yeah.
But he does it anyway, and he gets the fire alarm.
Yeah. And the cop who's overseeing it all doesn't... He tells Linton what's-his-face that they've rescued the boy, it's fine, so he can finally kick the goal that wins the game. I know sports.
Yay! I think the other team was sucked so bad.
Yeah. That's sports. And then then
they find the bomb.
Bingo. They find the bomb, and Bingo runs off with it. Does a Bruce Wayne, but it's fine.
Yeah, he does a Bruce Wayne. Christopher Nolan must have been a big fan of Bingo because he runs off and jumps into the river, where it explodes. But luckily, Charlie somehow survived. Aquaman showed up and saved him.
Oh, brilliant! Take that.
Charlie wakes up in hospital, and who knows what's going to happen? Oh, hey, the dog's fine. Yeah. Oh, great. Okay.
Can I keep him? No. Oh, yes.
Every character from the movie shows up at Bingo's bedside, including several who tried to murder him.
Yeah.
And there's a neutering joke, and the director uses the best take they had for a freeze frame.
Sure, son. Just as soon as we have him neutered.
Jesus Christ, what was most of that?
Oh, I'll tell you what it is, Paul. It's a wonderful thing.
It's a hell of a thing.
It's quite an incredible experience because the first time I watched this, I went round Liam's and had a couple of beers. It was all very nice, and then we put on Bingo, and I was expecting it to be, low grade in every single way, and be your standard experience of this bit was hilarious, this bit was very dull, but what it is, it's the most surreal, like unexpected journey possible, because every scene it just ramps up, and crazier and crazier things keep happening to this dog. And it was quite overwhelming, and And then the second time I saw it, I really enjoyed where the tongue was in cheek here. It feels like it knows exactly what it's doing. It knows how dumb this is, but at the same time, it really enjoyably escalates. And it's full of so many funny set pieces with some lovely dog tricks to boot.
Yeah.
For all the the flaws there, we'll get into them. I just had such a good time watching this.
Yeah, it was. It moves along at a hell of a pace. It keeps throwing weird new ideas in there.
Yeah.
It keeps frustrating attempts to sort of explain it, because the anthropomorphization of Bingo is so extreme that it genuinely just feels like, although it is billed as a family movie, it just seems like the kind of movie that older people get much more out of.
Yeah.
Kids will take it at face value, I guess.
Yeah.
But parents will just be so bowled over by how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
And yes, knowingly, because it's just surreal. It's written in such a way that if it were a cartoon, perhaps you would believe it more as being this sort of world. But as a result, it is just so strange in its own little way that it's just incredible to be swept along by it.
Yeah, the scenes of Charlie waking up to the campfire, the clothes hanging to dry on a washing line, and a tent that's been erected. It's you have to go along with it because the pace of the movie is so breakneck.
Yes,
it's
my God.
Okay, this is a dog that can do all these things, and you're just waiting for the next time you're going to be surprised with the next ridiculous thing the dog can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next, bizarre direction they're going to decide to throw this in.
Yeah.
Because at the point when he does get wheeled into a hospital in order to get a nose exchange because his nose is burned out, and it turns out that this is a dream, but there's nothing in there to imply. There's nothing in there to imply that this is going to be a dream. There's nothing that would go against the logic that the movie has laid out for you so far to suggest that this is any less plausible than any of the other things that have happened to Bingo on his journey.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting subgenre of American comedy, because there's other examples of this. It's like Ryan's Babe from a few years later that had a similar kind of ramshackle, what the fuck is happening now plot. And it's like the American Road movie, which is, in its own way, very episodic.
Yes.
If you think The Odyssey here, it's very much that kind of thing of just, I don't know, it has that sort of Shaggy Dog story, so to speak.
Yeah.
Kind of quality where you just spin off and have diversions and have these silly things happening, and so there is something very compelling to it, to the point where it feels much longer than it is, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Yeah. It's like
because
you
there's
say.
just so much in there.
It's like you say, the beginning of the movie just feels like a different time.
Yes, when they reestablish his fear of fire,
Yeah.
it's just like, Jesus Christ, that was so long ago.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. But it's like the tongue-in-cheekness of it is never exploited to the point where Bingo comes in and does something, and then, the whatever actor is in there at the same time looks at the camera going, "Oh, Bingo!" Like
it treats itself relatively serious, and yet still has comedic performances in there.
It's like the Leslie Nielsen approach.
Sometimes.
Well, like it's
good Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, good Leslie Nielsen. The difference being that it knows that it's doing it, whereas the alternative would be something like Sharknado, where it's like, look how bad this is, everybody.
Yes, it is hard to draw that line, isn't it? Because what is it that distinguishes this from a Sharknado? The authenticity of it feels a little stronger. Like these are, because you start getting into the mindset, because you feel like anyone could come up with the Sharknado kind of thing of, what if there was time travel now and the sharks were in medieval armor or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's something inexplicable about the decision of just, oh God, what was the example? There was one particular plot point where I was thinking, how the hell would you reverse engineer this?
In Bingo.
I mean, the hostage situation, the whole jail thing. Like, who comes up with the idea that he gets into a criminal situation where he diffuses a hostage situation and then is sent down for it and goes to jail?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
and
why do you come up with that?
Why? Why would you do this?
Why?
I think, yeah, it's a pretty special ability, I think, to be able to do all of that without at the same time drawing attention to how wacky it is. It just keeps pushing you along and sort of forcing you to go on bigger and ballsier journeys. And, you know, a lot of the time I am just laughing in surprise at how it keeps managing to do it when they all fucking pull out machetes and you've got suddenly a prison knife fight.
Yeah.
It's just joyous.
Having such an anthropomorphized dog,
yeah,
you know, who from the very beginning is clearly communicated to be possessing of abilities that are entirely impossible of a dog.
Yeah.
It just it kind of forces you to suspend your disbelief and sort of buy into this ridiculous fantasy world. And then other things like the color palette, the Denver Bronco colored house,
switching to Green Bay Packers colors as soon as the transfer's made, down to just colors of like tiny household objects, phones and whatnot.
It's as perverse as it is, you can compare it to like the production design of a Wes Anderson film that sort of just puts you into the headspace of being like, okay, I'm going to take this on its own terms.
Yeah.
So, this is the second week in a row in which we've had an inexplicable but surprisingly enjoyable, kind of relatively disposable but very entertaining family-oriented family-oriented adventure movie, I guess you'd call both of these.
Yeah. It's I can see if taken at face value, you'd be looking at the cliche kid, with his lines. You know, it's very much the "you're a bad dog" and that kind of thing, and looking at that and going, God, this is a bit cringy and silly and unoriginal. But thinking about it in wider terms and how the dad behaves and like I say, all the detail, the color scheme, everything that goes into it, it's so worth having a watch, everybody.
I think so. It's a very light movie, and just was absolutely perfect for when I watched it, which was a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, lovely.
At its own pace, very appreciated.
Lovely.
Okay,
that's quickfire.
Let's get into quickfiring.
Quickfire. We've already listed all the amazing things the dog does during the plot, so they're fantastic. The dog is great. Bingo is great, and she should be very proud.
Yeah, she absolutely should. I mean, the first moment that sort of took me by surprise and did elicit an actual laugh was when the woman who's very mildly trying to save him, just like pushing her husband into a cupboard and being like, "Come on, Bingo, you've got to run. You've got to go get." No, I didn't mean get a picture of our family.
Yeah,
she's being really mild. But then when she does just turn around and just say, "Okay, let's shoot him." Yeah, that was good stuff.
Excellent. I think one of my first proper laugh was actually during the circus show when Bingo's refusing to jump and the guy is just under his breath going, "You planned this, didn't you? You planned it. You wanted to humiliate me," which Bingo is just anthropomorphized as he is potentially, but also how ridiculous it is for this guy to be talking like this to a dog.
That's excellent stuff. Okay, so when they encounter the bear, the kid just has to like do his kid acting in a mild like family movie kind of way of just, "Bingo, where are you?" But the shot that has him in the foreground and the bear running towards him, the bear is just bounding and huge and terrifying, and the kid is in the foreground with the ADR going, "Bingo, what's going on? Are you gonna help me or what?" And the bear is just fucking coming at him, and it's like, you're gonna die.
You're gonna die, Mickey.
Fucking die. And it was just very amusing, that contrast between his really laid back performance and the bear just bearing at him and all of his beariness.
Beariness. Well, the kid shades were particularly good as well. Just before he tries to do his bike jump that all the kids have already done. He puts on his shades because he's radical and he's got attitude, and that's how he's going to do the jump. But the shades are rubbish. The moment is lame, and I don't know how genuine the film was, going for in that moment. I feel like it was also intentionally meant to be rubbish, and the kid was just, the kid is Leslie Nielsen. He's just doing his family movie performance that kids do. But I did get a good laugh with the shades that he put on.
Excellent. Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh, okay, little detail. There's a foot anatomy chart in the bathroom. Because a fair amount of... I don't know about a fair amount, because the characters are very one-dimensional, but just the idea that he's a football player.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a chart of foot anatomy on the bathroom wall. Was quite amusing.
It's good. It adds to that whole, he's a kicker and he's fixated on like foot science and foot care. It's good. I mean, the dad in general, I really like him. He's got a mad look in his eye throughout the movie. He's a very intense father figure, but not intense abusive, just intense oblivious to everybody else.
Yes.
I had something in mind besides stadium food.
Truckers always know the best spots to eat. You guys are going to try some good old-fashioned roadside cuisine before it disappears forever.
He has a Clark Griswold quality to him. Who is Chevy Chase's character from National Lampoon.
Right, okay, cool. And just, a few moments when they're waiting for Charlie and the dad says, call in the morning, they're not, you can't call the police at night about this. He's there doing some sort of like kick related practice, and he goes, all right, 7:14, it's sunrise. I'll call the cops now. Just the
sort of father knows best and is just an absolute idiot kind of trope.
Yeah, and it's like the dad who goes around checking the thermostat all the time. 7:14 is sunrise. And then when Charlie does show up...
I told you he'd show up. I'm going to rip his arms off.
Good timing and delivery on that.
Good stuff. When the dog has destroyed a whole bunch of their belongings... The elder brother has been just communicated to be a terrible guy, like a Buzz-style bully.
Yeah.
In this, and just a right wrong'un who drives BMX in the forest with his friends and is rough and bullies the kid. And then he says he broke my citizenship award.
Yeah.
And it's just such a good little detail, the idea that this kid has a citizenship award. I don't know what they're saying with that, but it's very amusing.
Yeah, it's great. He gave me, what's Malcolm's brother from Malcolm in the Middle?
Reese?
Yeah, Reese. Obviously not the older guy, but
it's Francis.
Yeah.
Francis, Reese, Malcolm, Dewey, and Jamie.
That's it, yeah. He gave me Reese vibes at times, but the citizenship award is very good. I didn't catch that. When they move, the last thing that the dad does before they drive off is rip off the Denver Broncos car sticker. And it's such a great punctuation to that whole like chapter in his life. I'm done.
How poignant. Speaking of the dad, the sound effect of his foot noise was very good. When the mum steps on his foot, just the crunch and his immediate misery. And I thought it would be funny if the mum hadn't acknowledged it and you just heard him like swearing and yelling in the background, but it was still a very over-the-top sound effect for what was just stepping on his foot.
Not have any of this. Ow! Honey, you stepped on the foot.
Which I enjoyed quite a bit.
It's a precious, precious foot. I liked when Bingo comes upon that cop. It's a hard cut to the cop drawing a line in chalk on the road.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of those just gear shifts. Yep, we're ramping this up, everybody.
Yep, we're undermining this authority figure by having him buy into the situation.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's one of those moments that just caught me in a sort of fit of hysteria.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
The sausages hanging from the rafters, looking like chains in like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Oh yeah,
was very good in the sausage guy's lair. That was a good little detail.
Yeah.
Felt very noughties horror, so it was prefiguring all of that by a good 10 years.
Prefiguring it and satirizing it.
But maybe they were going for Hellraiser.
With this film, maybe. When they park and go to get hot dogs, we're on sort of parity here plot wise, and Charlie goes off to pee, because he's laying a trail for Bingo. The dad starts complaining about the size of his bladder, and he's like, "God, his bladder like a walnut." Well, like I haven't peed all day. Have you? And he's just interrogating the rest of his family about how often they've been to the bathroom that day. And again, just this great dad character who who's fixated on fucking pointless details.
Yeah.
Means
It
so
feels
much
very
to me.
archetypal.
Yeah.
In a way that's very satisfying. Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Back to the dad. Jesus Christ. The rubbish goal practice in the hotel room.
Yeah.
It's just when they've set up the whole family and like they're doing this whole thing, and it's amusing. It's amusing that he is a professional football player doing this really kind of crap mock up of a field goal situation thing.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I really enjoyed that. The dogs all holding mirrors out of their cages in their escape
Jesus
attempt.
Christ, I forgot about that.
So dumb, but caught me just right. I was giggling away like a fool.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and I feel like in so many other films that would be
You'd be irritated
nonsense.
by
But maybe because so many of the dog tricks were real, that you suddenly see all these fake dog hands come out with the mirrors again. It just
when they did use a fake dog hand, because like there's a scene where he's looking for a window and needs to like do that in order to peek through, and it's just clearly a fucking like dollar store keyring dog paw that they've got.
It's the same with dialing a number on a payphone, I think.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. And I think the film does the work to make you okay with those jokes.
It's done enough silly things that it's not on its own.
Yeah.
So it feels less it feels less self-aware, which is good.
Yeah.
Opening fire on the caravan. So basically the people are there.
Yeah.
And the gangsters are there, the fucking criminals, and they're holding the dog hostage with a gun to its head. And he says, "Get back or the dog gets it." And the cops just look at each other and then just open fire on the caravan with fully automatic fire, and that was good. I enjoyed that.
That was very surprising. Because again, I think I was expecting them to go, "Oh my god, the dog," because everybody else values this dog.
Not the police. And that's the satire at the heart of it.
Nice. Yes. Kurt Fuller in general had these wonderful lines. Him and Eli, these criminals, they're meant to be rough and doing all this shady stuff, and then he'll say something that's just so endearing and sensitive.
Club him and let's get some sleep. Club him? He's not a harp seal. What's the matter with you, Eli? Didn't you have a dog when you were a kid?
What's next? Save the whales?
You know, it wouldn't hurt you to sign a petition every once in a while.
What for? We're felons. We can't vote.
Doesn't mean we can't contribute in other ways.
And delivered in that Kurt Fuller way. Yeah, I loved it.
I had no idea what they were getting at with his character. If it was meant to be that he was the sensitive thief compared to the other one, but then sometimes he was just as bad. It was very, it was unpredictable, which was fun.
Love that in my Kurt Fuller.
Speaking of him, the other actor, I don't know his name, but the guy playing the other criminal.
Yeah.
There was a scene where the dog is pointing them out and like jumps onto the table and like is barking at them. And that actor just had to yell at this actual real life dog, "I'm going to get you if it's the last thing I do."
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you if it's the last thing I do. Order.
And just imagining that little day on set was fun.
Highlight of his career. That is Joe Gazaldo.
Ah, Joe Gazaldo. Good for him. God bless him.
Good man.
Good man. Young man.
He's a good man. In the courtroom. Well, we're doing very well today. In the courtroom, when Bingo is giving testimony, it might be one of the lawyers who asks the clerk to repeat what was just said. And it's an obvious one. She looks up and goes, "Rough, rough, rough," but she looks so earnest.
They liked that so much. It was one of two jokes used in both of the different trailers I watched for this before watching the movie.
Fantastic. Love that. That translates well to a trailer. And but yeah, it's the totally earnest face that she has while she's doing it that seals the deal for me. It's superb.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, little prison uniform for the dog.
Oh yeah, love that.
Give him a little uniform.
All about little uniforms for dogs.
Little uniform for dog.
Wouldn't put one on myself. Don't believe
I wouldn't put one on myself.
No. Wouldn't put one on a dog myself either. But
you wouldn't dog yourself.
Not unless I was being paid about £50.
Okay, about 50.
There's
room for negotiation, fellas. Catch up with us in the Patreon.
Dogsville. Oh no, not that.
Oh God, no.
Cannot stress enough that our sexual escapades are completely unlike Dogville in any way. Bingo is washing dishes in a restaurant because he tries to eat out of a dumpster, and then he's told he has to earn his keep. And he's told, he's shown how to do it. And there's a dishwashing kid there who's probably on the same pay grade as the dog now. And as Bingo is doing some washing up, or like licking these plates clean, basically, the camera pans in on this dishwashing kid's face as it goes through a multitude of emotions. And it's pure class, and I just wonder what the fuck was intended by that.
I have one of his lines from later on, but we shall get to that much later because you're ahead of me now.
Oh no, I've only got 2 left, Paul, because I got 2 wrapped up in the movie being great. So I thought, well, this will do.
Amateur. You absolute amateur. Well, Wayne Robson plays the guy from Cube, the Wren, and is also in this playing Four Eyes, the prisoner. And yeah, I just like him. I really like everything about what he's up to. And I can see why Vincenzo Natali, who'd made the Cube.
Yeah. Is it Vincenzo Natali? I don't know.
What it was. Yeah, Vincenzo Natali. I can see why he was like, yes, this guy.
Yeah, Four Eyes.
Yeah, get me.
Suck a button, Four Eyes.
Tell you what, I'll get a couple more, seeing you've only got a couple left.
Go on.
Okay, during the prison fight, the guard comes in and is like, who's doing all that barking, huh?
Yeah.
And then cuts to the reverse shot, and one of them is just a dog.
Yeah.
You fucking think, mate.
I love it.
And also in the prison, the reveal that they're in the courtyard and they're dodging out of the way of spotlights very carefully, sort of running this way and that. And as this is happening, without cutting, we pan over to reveal that the guard is just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Doesn't give a fuck, mate. The opposite of the filmmakers. Well, when the dishwashing kid goes to rat out Bingo to the Crims, sells him out, tells him that he's working, tells them that he's working at a restaurant, because the Crims had put out a notice for the dog saying he was missing and to contact Mr. Smith.
Hi, you Mr. Smith?
Eli, is there a Mr. Smith here?
We're Mr. Smith.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on his line. Oh no, his line's next. His response line. I've caught up with you.
Caught up with you, fool.
When he says, "I'm pretty sure the dog is doing dishes," is a dishwasher at the place where I work at, and one of them says, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." He hasn't been promoted yet. Like it was just such a miserable day for this kid of being like, I still superior to this fucking at least collegiate with this dog.
Yeah,
he is not my superior yet. God damn it!
He's a plain old
resent
peer.
You implying otherwise because he assumes that's what the guy says. Like, are you sure that's his rank?
Yeah, it's good. Poor kid.
Poor kid.
The final time the cops and the wife are talking to the dad at the football game, and the cop lies to tell him that they have the son, he's safe, so he can go off and kick normally now. You get one last shot of the dad being like, "Yeah, football," and he goes off and he gives someone a high five, I think, and then it hard cuts to the wife clinging onto the radio, screaming into it like, "No!" He's like, and 2 cops are trying to pull her off of it, and it's a great juxtaposition and very, very funny hard cut.
It was a very funny twist that the cops would be willing to lie about the safety of this child in order to get the team to get the guy to win the game. Yeah. That was amusing.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, let's have just the sheer madness of now he's hamburger, now he's not, now he's hamburger, now he's not.
Yeah.
We're trapped and you're still playing around with that stupid remote!
You're not the boss of me! Now he's hamburger, now he's not. Now he's hamburger, now he's not.
Fucking hell, mate. You auditioning for a Batman villain here.
A very specific kind of Batman villain.
And this is the compassionate character we just got through praising.
Yeah. Don't know where I am with you, the movie Bingo. I'm out.
Brad Fuller.
Yeah.
Brad Fuller? I feel like that's wrong. Was it Brad?
Kurt Fuller.
Kurt Fuller. Brad Fuller was jock producer of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. There we go.
Full circle. Now we can die.
Full circle. 2 left. One of them was just the sheriff telling the footballer that the boy was fine. Oh, okay. When in the final moments of the movie where Charlie has asked, "Can we keep the dog?"
Yeah.
There's a pan around to all the characters we've met so far as they all look at him to be like, "Go on."
Yeah.
Let him do it.
Come on.
Except for the criminals who are just kind of like, oh, fucking hell. But the cook who took him on as a dishwasher, is wiggling his eyebrows like, Huh? What do you say? What do you say? And he definitely brought the he was the center of focus for me in that particular little shot.
What a man! What's his story? Where's he going?
What a very good man.
But I did like the detail in that of the hot dog guy now sells veggie sausages. He now makes vegetarian sausages.
Oh yeah, no, this is a different cook. This is the cook who brought him on as a dishwasher.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
the guy who fucking killed dogs was now handing out carrots. It looked like.
Nah, I thought he had veggie sausages.
Oh God, maybe.
Either way, that's as close as a carrot as close as it needs to be to a carrot. But I also like that the criminals there still looked at the dad as they were all going around, and everybody was looking at him. So yeah, what a great movie!
Absolutely. What a film! I just feel like our next mad stop on this crazy adventure is going to bring us in direct contact to the OG team. Before that, though, I just want to report that the guy who did the music to Cube by Vincenzo Natali was Mark Corvin. He did the music. Then he did all the music for everything that Robert Eggers has done. Oh, except The Northman. That's where it went wrong. I fucking love The Northman. I'm not going to buy into that narrative. But he did the music for The Witch and The Lighthouse. And The Black Phone.
I thought you were going to turn that around to And Bingo.
And Bingo. Nope, it was just a Cube-related tidbit. Tell you what, mate, I've got Twitter.
Fantastic. Well, I'll check.
I've got the overwhelming results for Twitter. If you get Meta, where I just know that Jennifer Sons had something to say about all this.
Oh, fantastic.
You get that feeling in your waters. Your Julie Waters.
My Jenny Waters. My Jenny Waters.
Jenny?
Oh, look, there's a picture of Bingo testifying.
Yeah, that's the one
Beautiful
I put up
dog.
everywhere. It's just a beautiful dog. Martin Gardner gets in touch to say, "Oh, good Lord, yes, saw it 30 years ago."
Wow.
And I asked, do you remember anything you liked? And we're still waiting on a response to that particular question. But as soon as we get it, we're going to reopen this episode. We're going to break open the files.
Fantastic. We're just going to extend it. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep pushing, keep stretching.
You're not going to believe how far we're willing to take this to find out what Martin Gardner had to say about this.
You literally not. Literally won't believe it, mate. But thanks, Martin Gardner. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Thanks, Martin Gardner.
Are you done with Twitter?
Yeah.
Twitter? Jenny Soanes. Jenny Soanes.
What did I fucking tell you?
I'm sorry, I'll never doubt you again, except for some other times.
Oh,
you guys are digging deep into my past now. I don't remember what the family had rented to watch, but I didn't give a shit. I watched Bingo on VHS in my own room because I was a baller child. I don't doubt that, Jenny. I don't doubt that. Jenny, I think there was an evil clown in this, but that may be Airbud.
I think it's Airbud.
I think it's Airbud. There are some...
Unless you mean the British guy at the beginning. He was a clown.
Yeah.
He was a fool.
He was a clown sucker. And there were some dubious circus types. Anyway, Jenny continues. I do remember thinking how smart it was to leave a P-trail for Bingo to follow, but how the hell did he get his parents to stop so frequently? Pissed on the car
There's
seats.
like a reference to that. Like, boy, this kid should have... You've got to imagine that just everything in between is just him, like, chugging. Absolutely chugging the fucking, whatever drink he has.
Shouldn't keep buying him Mountain Dew. But I love that company so much. They support the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Will you be following this up with 1992's Beethoven, a children's movie that involves medical testing experiments on dogs?
Yay! That sounds great.
Was the early 90s great or terrible for doggo actors? That's only one way to find out.
Poor doggos. There absolutely is. My God, I don't know if I can handle more American comedies. It turns out American family comedies are quite good, especially the ones from the 90s.
Some specific ones, yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Looking over at Patreon, Luke Ciancio gets in touch and says, I demand QF references in this episode. I don't know what QF is, and I refuse.
I've never heard of QF in my life.
No. Quick time event? That's only got one of the letters in common.
I'm wearing a Quest Fantastic t-shirt.
So you are.
At this moment in time. And I don't know what Quest Fantastic is.
I'm just not a fan.
No.
So, thank you very much, Luke Ciancio. We made one just there because of you.
Thanks.
That's the impact you can have on our episodes if you're a Patreon. And I think you should all find out much more about how to get involved in that. But before you do that, probably talk about the one better thing.
Oh yeah, go on then.
The one better thing.
Well, I mean, I see no need to recommend anything else. You should just watch Bingo.
Look, if you're looking for a story about an anthropomorphized creature as it travels across a crazy landscape and experiences all sorts of different modes of life and all sorts of scenarios and comes into wacky adventures, then I have to recommend Robert Bresson's Au Hasard Balthazar. And also its recent kind of sort of remake inspired by Jerzy Skolimowski's EO. Both movies see a donkey just traveling around and encountering different people who use him for different reasons, and sort of it brings out sort of more about who they are, how they use this donkey, and how they treat this donkey. There is a fair amount of anthropomorphization, particularly in Skolimowski's film. Not really so much in Bresson, because he was a cold, cynical man, as anyone will tell you.
I would tell you that.
Anyone. I'll tell you that. He wasn't. He made lovely cinema.
Still.
But yeah, nevertheless.
Beautiful.
That's what I recommend. Check those two out if you dare. They're a bit spooky. They're not spooky. Well, EO's a bit spooky. Check them out. Isabelle Huppert's in EO. That's spooky.
Oh, okay. Just hard cut with the jingle.
The one better thing.
Okay, Paul, how can people find out about a one good thing?
Well, if they dare, which they won't, but they will.
Oh, Isabelle Huppert's in it.
Isabelle Huppert's in all of us. That's the twist. You can find out just how much Isabelle Huppert is in all of us by checking out her tweets on Twitter and Facebook at OGTPod. You can send her an email at gmail@ogtpod@gmail.com and say, Isabelle Huppert, why are you in me? And she may or may not respond. She will, though. She has also got a Patreon. You just have to go on to https://Isabelle Huppert /patreon.com Quest Fantastic. Nope. Yeah. OGT Pod.
Oh. You're such a fanatic.
Oh my god. I don't know what QF is. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
This guy?
OGT Pod Patreon. Thank you very much. Where we have hundreds of hours of Isabelle Huppert related material, such as currently redoing redoing our top 30s by doing some movie generatey sort of things. We had a curators gala where we randomly generated movies and put together some film nights. That was very fun. And
we've got some silly bingo related stuff happening this week, so you'll be able to find out more stuff there. So
we're playing bingo.
I think we're just playing bingo.
Great.
Playing bingo, bango, ha cha cha. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm Paulgo.
I was a farmer. I had a dog, and his name was Paul.
And remember, the one good thing about BINGO is that was what it was all about. Is probably just one dad trying his best to do right by his family and wrong by every dog he encounters because he can't fucking stand them.